Hey guys, what's going on? It's me, Jay. Man, we're not even we're not even a month into 2025, and already a lot has already happened. And one of the things that's happened is the wildfires in LA beginning on in Tuesday in all of Southern California, different counties. And right now, as we're speaking, yet another wildfire has spread to the Calabasas area of California. Uh, Woodland Hills, I believe, is the name of the area. And, people are just wondering what is going on. I watched it live on the news as they were reporting it. I have family members, uh, extended family members that live in Southern California. So it was of particular importance to me that they were safe, you know, and like my whole thing is look at the unpredictability so far of the weather. And I'm going to get to what I mentioned in the headlines. Henry Winkler, the actor who played the Fonz on the hit TV show from the 1970s, Happy Days, he said it was an arsonist, which is something that my mom said as we were watching it together on the news. I was watching it with her, and she also said that she believes that was an arsonist as well, because I theorized that it was probably overheating. This has happened before in Southern California. This is not a new occurrence in Southern California. Back like I think it was like 2018, 2019, this happened as well in Southern California. Um, and it was a weather thing, but that was the summer. This is, of course, the winter time, so it is a lot cooler. You would think, even in Southern Cal, than it would be in the summer. So she was like, it couldn't have been just weather related because even in places like Texas right now, it is freezing temperature, and it's supposed to be. I don't know how true this is. Supposedly snowing in Arizona. Snowing in Arizona. I repeat that. So the weather is going crazy, and once again, climate change activists like Greta Thunberg are looking like they are prophets because the unpredictable, and Al Gore as well, looking to be prophets because the unpredictability that they predicted with the weather is happening. But my mom was like, no, she didn't think it was that. And Henry Winkler, the actor, he didn't think it was that either. He believes that it was an arsonist. You know what I mean? And that's possible too because once again, like with the terrorists in New Orleans and like with the terrorists in Las Vegas, when you pump up these theories and you pump up rhetoric against certain individuals and certain groups. Now, maybe not they're not all arsonists. All these wildfires that we're seeing throughout Southern California are not all arsonists, right? But say, for example, the Calabasas area. This area is Woodland Hills and Calabasas. Now, Woodland Hills and Calabasas, these are neighborhoods, areas where it's not working class people, it's a lot of celebrities, a lot of Hollywood celebrities, right? And we know that particularly on the right side of the political spectrum, there is a lot of anti-Hollywood rhetoric going on. Just like on the left side of the political spectrum, we can believe that somebody like Matthew Lilsberger would try to do something to send a message to Donald Trump and Elon Musk, particularly after this whole H1B visa controversy. The same thing could be said for the left side of the political spectrum. The right side of the political spectrum pumping up this anti-Hollywood rhetoric against the Hollywood celebrities, painting them as the elite, painting them as pedophiles, right? Which we've seen the right side of the political spectrum do. So this political rhetoric can sometimes cause people to do crazy things. So one of the things that Henry Winkler said, he said, I hope this guy, if he's an arsonist, and they do have somebody in custody right now for doing this particular fire, right? It may be a natural occurrence. Right. David says it's ridiculous what's going on in California. It may be a natural occurrence, but maybe it is somebody with a political agenda trying to cause chaos, trying to cause mayhem. You know what I mean? It is very possible that this is something that is going on because he has a political social agenda. He is so consumed with crazy ass beliefs that he would want to do something to harm Hollywood celebrities, and he's so anti-celebrity that he's going to do this. Just like Matthew Lisberger might be so anti-Trump and so anti-Elon Musk, and he wanted to do something to send a message. You saw what he wrote in Las Vegas in his manifesto, that these type of events get American people's attention. That this is the only thing that American people pay attention to is these kind of actions, these kind of mass occurrences. And this is something that everybody knows. All these terrorists, all these mass shooters, all this stuff, this is something that everybody knows. We all know that when things like this happen, chaos like this happens, the American people pay attention. Without this, this doesn't. Nobody pays attention. Nobody cares. So somebody who is crazy, despite what their political leanings are, would want to do something like this. It is conceivable that they would want to do something like this to get somebody's attention and to feel like they're doing it in the right. And knowing that this is happening as a natural weather occurrence, they want to take advantage of that. We saw not just with the Las Vegas bombings, not just with the Las Vegas explosion, not just with the car terrorist attack in New Orleans, but even before that, with Luigi Mangione. What did he do? Killing Brian Thompson, trying to get attention, trying to call attention to his cause. So what if there is an arsonist out there in California taking advantage of the climate situation, trying to get his message out there? What if he is an eco-terrorist trying to get his message out there? Could be the other side of the political spectrum. We don't know. You know what I'm saying? We don't know. The police, the LAPD and stuff, they don't know right now. But it is something to look into. You know what I mean? Henry Winkler and my mom, they have a point. And thoughts and prayers to them. There's right now the state of California, and I'm going to make a political statement right now. I feel like the state of California is horribly mismanaged. Gavin Newsom's time as governor of California, he has done a tremendous disservice to California. California right now, there's a mass exodus out of the state to other parts of the country. Oh, David says he called his cousin in Fullerton. Okay, is he doing well, your cousin, or he got hit as well? Hope your cousin's doing well, David. I hope his house didn't get hit. But my point is, here you had the mayor, and Gavin Newsom's job has been terrible. Gavin Newsom, to me, is a terrible governor. And the fact that the Democratic Party, the DNC, wants him to try to run for president as their candidate in 2028 is is laughable to me. But let's move. Oh, they can smell it from Los Angeles. Let's move. Wow. Hopefully, he's all right. Let's move to the mayor of Los Angeles. Here, the mayor was when the fires hit, when they first hit Wednesday morning. She was nowhere to be found, this lady. She was in a trip in Africa. You know what I mean? So, talk about mismanagement, talk about irresponsibility, not taking care of the constituency that you're supposed to represent, your city as well as your state. It's obvious that whoever is running Los Angeles and whoever is running the state in Sacramento is asleep at the wheel on both instances, not even available. Karen Bass. Okay, that's one Karen missing in action. She was. And now they're getting a hold of her. Hours and hours later, she issues a statement. I mean, what kind of mess? I live in New York. I thought Eric Adams, and I thought Kathy Hochul was bad, and she is. I mean, she terribly botched the Robert Brooks massacre of Robert Brooks in uh, New York State jails, New York State jail upstate. But Kathy Hochul and Mayor Eric Adams, and the way they handle New York City and New York State respectively, is no. They look like the best statesmen and stateswoman in the world, the best representatives when you compare them to Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass, respectively, and how they handle Los Angeles and California, respectively. So, I mean, that I feel bad for them for just having bad governance, you know. I mean, and it's a real bittersweet pill for LA because I mean they just won the World Series. You know what I mean? Not so long ago, and now they're facing this. My thoughts and prayers with them. New York, I mean, LA is a city that growing up as a kid, I always admired them. You know what I mean? They're the cultural capital of this country. You know what I mean? Because of the movies they put out. And as a hip hop fan, like I always say, when I got into hip hop, even though I'm from New York where hip hop was, birthed in the 70s, when I got into hip hop, it was the early 1990s. And by then, Los Angeles was the mecca of hip hop. I got into Dr. Dre, I got into Snoop, I got into Tupac. This is West Coast hip hop coming directly out of Los Angeles, the greater Los Angeles area. A lot of the movies that were coming out at that time, there were urban movies, Boys in the Hood, Blood In, Blood Out, South Central, Menace to Society, and even comedy movies like Don't Be a Menace and Friday were focused on Los Angeles culture. So as a kid growing up in New York, I idolized LA. And like I said, I have family also on the West Coast. You know what I mean? So it's something that hit home, a lot with me. To Live and Die in LA by Tupac is one of my favorite songs. So I will always have a special place in my heart for LA. And I'm definitely praying for that city right now because they need it, guys. And I'm tempted to say this joke. And if anybody's offended by this joke, David says Tupac got screwed in his life. If anybody's offended, David knows this joke. But I'm sorry to the Los Angelinos that are offended and the people that are hit by this really serious event. But I'm just going to come out and say it because I don't hold my tongue for anyone. Maybe LA is burning because they booed Hulk Hogan on Monday. I don't know. Hogan is Hogan is vindicated now because when he was at the at the Raw Netflix review, I mean the Raw Netflix debut, he got booed, and then the next day, LA started. and then the next day, LA started burning. So I don't know how you feel, David. Maybe you want to laugh, maybe you don't want to laugh, or whatever. But maybe the Hulkster is like, you know what? That's what you get, brother, for booing me when I came out. David says he was. David, were you at WrestleMania 12? David's from Anaheim. David, were you at WrestleMania 12? Or WrestleMania? Maybe David was not at WrestleMania 12. Maybe he was at WrestleMania 8. He says, no, he was not. He was 4 years old. Okay. uh, what about WrestleMania 2000? WrestleMania 6. I don't know. They should have called it 16, but they called it 2000, whatever. That was another one in Anaheim. But yeah. David, are you a Mighty Ducks fan? See, the only thing I really know, the only two things I really know when it comes to Anaheim is the Mighty Ducks, WrestleMania 2000, and WrestleMania 12, especially. But he says, yes, I am. I'm an Anaheim Angels and Mighty Ducks fan. There you go. Great California teams. Well, David, when did you start watching professional wrestling? At what age? Were you even watching? You probably weren't watching WrestleMania 12, but I'm sure you're probably watching, WrestleMania. Did they ever have another WrestleMania at Anaheim after 2000? Let me think. Oh yeah, WrestleMania 21 in LA. Yeah. Okay, so he started watching the year he started. His first WrestleMania was probably 17, or 13, or maybe 14. 13 was Chicago. 14 was uh yeah, WrestleMania 21 in LA and WrestleMania 39 in LA as well. Yeah. 13 was in Chicago, 14 was in Boston, 15 was in Philly, 16 was Anaheim, 17 was Houston, 18 was Toronto, 19 was Seattle, 20 was New York, 21 was LA, 22 was Chicago, 23 was Detroit, 24 was Orlando, 25 was Houston, 26 was Phoenix, 27 was Atlanta, 28 was Miami, 29 was New York, 30 was New Orleans. 31 was San Francisco. 32 was 32 was Dallas. 33 was Orlando. Yeah, I know. That's what it should have been. Yeah. 33 was Orlando. 34 was New Orleans again. 35 was New York. 36 was, well, Orlando, an empty arena. 30, 37 was Tampa. 38 uh, was I think it was 38 was Dallas again. 39 was LA, and 40 was Philly. And 41 is going to be Las Vegas. Yeah, that's what it should have been. That whole fatal four-way match, or McMahon in each corner, that was some bullshit. That match, that pay-per-view, WrestleMania 2000, besides them calling it WrestleMania 2000, besides they should have WrestleMania 16. That's what it really was, in the countdown. They should have called it that WrestleMania 16, and they had only one-on-one match. Basically, every other match was like a fatal four-way, a triple threat, this and that. The best match on the card was the Dudleys, Edge and Christian, and the Hardys. And we all wanted to see Triple H versus The Rock. We never got Triple H versus The Rock. We got that, and then we got a showdown with him at WrestleMania 31, leading into supposed to be a mixed tag match with The Rock and Ronda Rousey versus Stephanie and Triple H, which never happened because Rousey was still in UFC at the time when WrestleMania 32 rolled around. But yeah, those are all the cities they've had WrestleMania. They've had it in LA 4 times. WrestleMania 2, LA was one of the cities. And then at WrestleMania 7, Anaheim twice, and LA WrestleMania 21 and WrestleMania 39. Yeah, well, Stone Cold Steve Austin was out with an injury at that time. Triple H versus Undertaker Part 1 was actually a pretty good. Wait, no. 16, WrestleMania 2000, Undertaker wasn't there and Austin wasn't there either. That was one of the WrestleManias that Undertaker actually missed. That and WrestleMania 10. That's why it's not in his streak record. He didn't come back to the following year when it was him versus Triple H Part 1. Austin wasn't there either. That was a really weird year because Mick Foley retired that January. The Hell in a Cell match at the Royal Rumble that he had with Triple H, but then he had to come back not as Cactus Jack, but as him. Yeah, I remember when the Anaheim Angels won the World Series in 2002. Yeah, I was in 11th grade then. In 11th grade. Professional wrestling actually helped me a lot, and sports in general helped me a lot with geography because I would memorize different cities that wrestling events were held in. Like, okay, especially like WCW. WCW would hold these really with events in these really obscure uh, cities, right? Like in the South, right? Like Biloxi, Mississippi, Chattanooga, Tennessee, um, Asheville, North Carolina, and WWE would have, and I spoke about this before when I did a video on Bret Hart in the anniversary of the Montreal Screwjob. If it were not for me being a WWE fan and watching WWE religiously the way I was, I would have never known about where is Calgary, Alberta. Where's Calgary, the province, and Alberta, the city. You know what I mean? I would have never known where Saskatchewan was where Bret Hart first won his first WWF championship in 1992. You know, or any province in Western Canada or any province in Canada, period. Yeah, we never got Stone Cold versus Undertaker at a WrestleMania. We got it at SummerSlam 1998, which took place in New York, but I wasn't there because I couldn't get tickets in time. I was in camp that year and couldn't. My grandma didn't purchase the tickets in time enough, when I got back, so I couldn't see SummerSlam 1998, The Undertaker versus Stone Cold Steve Austin, which sucked, you know. But now WWE is branching out to international, so it won't be long before we have an international WrestleMania outside of North America. We've had two in Canada already, WrestleMania 6 and WrestleMania 18, respectively. But how soon before we have it in another country? I hope that country is somewhere in the West, particularly the UK, because the UK audience they're rabid wrestling fans. Like when the US dropped off of the wrestling map in the 2010s, when wrestling really started to suffer in the US, um, the UK picked up the ball, and the UK still, and Europe in general, Germany too, still, stuck with wrestling, and the indie scene in the UK and Germany exploded, which is why Triple H established, NXT UK. What culture wrestling, for example, exploded as an indie in the UK. So I hope London, Birmingham, Manchester, one of those cities in the UK one day gets a WrestleMania. I hope Saudi Arabia doesn't get a WrestleMania anytime soon because they don't deserve it. They don't have the loyal fan base that the UK has for the WWE, that for wrestling in general. Even TNA, when they were struggling in the US, they went over to the UK and they found an audience there. Undertaker versus Steve Austin would have been great, David. I wish they had it. You know what I mean? At a WrestleMania. Big Show was on fire back then. He just came in. He was only there for a year. He was on fire. Um, Excuse the pun, but anyway, prayers and thoughts with. Sorry for getting off topic, but prayers and thoughts with the people of Los Angeles, people of Southern California, and possibly the Fonz is correct. Possibly it is an arsonist, and if it is an arsonist, I hope they catch this person and see what this person's motives were, why they were doing this. Was this an act of eco-terrorism? Was this something that was motivated as a hatred of celebrities? That's why I'm always saying. I said it in 2019. Going back to that video, that these pundits, they have to be careful the things they say. And the event in 2019 that I'm referring to that happened was the Christchurch shooting in New Zealand. I mean, the New Zealand at that mosque. You have to be careful. These pundits who, when they engage in punditry, they can sometimes incite massive, massive, horrible reactions. The things you say. You have to be more responsible for what you say. But think about it this way: while this is happening, President-elect Trump is sitting there laughing with Barack Obama at Jimmy Carter's funeral. And we will talk in another video about Jimmy Carter, some of the key moments at Jimmy Carter's state funeral that happened, today. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you, David, for contributing. Always a pleasure, man. Peace. Love you guys.